I want to talk about Wyatt Johnston, especially after Pete DeBoer said this at practice yesterday in Frisco.
Just conversations and I think an honest look at his game. Is he getting chances? Is it just a matter of puck luck, or is there some things he has to do better? I mean, those are all conversations we have with him. I think the underlying tone of those messages, though, is, I think he's really close to breaking out. I don't think his game's fallen off a cliff. People have to remember he went 18 games last year without a goal. So, he has a little bit of a history of being streaky. So I'm definitely not panicking.
I love Pete because he doesn't throw his players under the bus. When he brings up that 18 games, he's basically saying to everybody else, just tap the brakes. He went through the stretch before and then he hit it and then he took off. So I like that part of it. And when they talk, they've talked, and what he's sugarcoating is I don't want to say sugarcoating, but what he's sugarcoating.
You think he's tap dancing a little bit, or just glossing over?
He's talked to Wyatt and said, "Dude, you're better than this." I mean, it's not game 5. We need more.
Game 12.
We need more. Yeah, and that's really not a panic time either.
No,
but we need more. We expect more. I mean, Wyatt expects more from himself. I mean, and it's not a lack of getting in positions and things like that. Wyatt's played the most minutes per game than any other forward on this team. He's playing 19 minutes a game. So he's given him every chance to bust out of this thing. And, I said this to you earlier. I don't know, and Wyatt doesn't seem like this kind of kid, this kind of player. But at the end of last year, he finished the year of the regular season really well.
He was the hottest forward for the Stars offensively.
So I did a little math, and usually I'm not.
Hold on, let me brace
I'm
myself
usually
for
not.
this.
I'm not right on most of this stuff. But the last 19 games of the regular season, he had 13 goals and 22 points. Finished strong heading into the playoffs. Then in the playoffs, they played 19 games. He had 10 goals and 16 assists. So in total, his last 38 games, he had 38 points. Somebody's going to do the math and tell me I'm wrong.
Literally a point a game.
That's pretty damn good.
That's very good,
right?
Especially at the end of the regular season and the playoffs when they were in the hunt for the President's Trophy and play. I mean, those are the hardest parts of the year to produce.
Okay, and then what was all the talk about at the end of the year?
What's he going to get paid?
Okay, all of this stuff, and again, he's a young kid.
Because this is the last year of his rookie deal.
Yep,
of his ELC,
and so feeling good and all this kind of stuff. Sometimes when the season starts, you forget about what you did to get all those accolades and get your contract. I'm not saying that anything went to his head, but you just think you can come in and pick it up and I'm going to start right. It doesn't work like that. You have to go back to work. And I'm not saying that Wyatt doesn't work, but there's parts to the game that I see. And we got a little chart here that I looked at. And this is basically a shooting chart. And it kind of gives you the percentile where things are, compared to the rest of the league. Now, I don't normally say this, and there's high danger areas, and then there's mid-range areas. But in high danger, which is, you can see that's from in front of the net. I mean, he's in that 84 percentile. That's where it is. And you see where it's the mid-range one. So that's 72% right there. Now, I think for Wyatt that
it's still above average.
Oh, no, and
right.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
But I keep thinking about the goals that Wyatt has scored, where he's coming in off the wing and he's taking these shots and short side high, and he shoots from everywhere. I think he needs to start shooting more.
It reminds me of his old landlord, or billet dad, if you will.
Well, of course. And that's another change in his life, right? And so, he's on on his own.
We talked about in the preseason.
Say the name.
No, I'm not going to do it yet. We talked JP from Wisconsin.
Yeah, JP from Stevens Point.
So much talking about in the preseason his change of living situation and the void left by a future potentially Hall of Famer. We haven't really talked about it in the regular season. Is that affecting him? And you might be onto something there.
Well,
just getting used to a new routine. I'm just saying
there's
right?
a lot of things that have not changed, but there's that one thing, that dynamic of having.
Thing.
I mean, you got somebody that's cooking for you and cleaning for you and doing everything for you for the most part. And I'm sure he had to pitch in and do his chores, but now he's on his own. God bless him for being on his own. Wyatt Johnston's a good-looking kid.
And by the way, just to satisfy our producer, there's no way the Pavelski household would have had him without chores.
Correct. I can't believe we didn't. Oh, there it is.
And he brought the bell up in front of his graphic. How about that?
So So anyway, with all those things going on, I can understand how your mind might be a little cluttered coming to this. So, so what I think, and I think because Wyatt he's got a hell of a shot. And I think he's getting in tight where I would typically tell you, if you're not scoring a lot of goals, get in there and pay the price. He does that. But I think he can loosen things up by start shooting in that mid-range area and let those pucks go. Because
okay, let me ask you this. Do you think that teams, this is his third year, do you think that teams that are playing against the Stars have recognized that and are coaching them to not let him get inside, get closer to that, and almost baiting him to shoot from those higher areas?
What I would say is, like, he wants to stick handle it into the net. And I don't think, again, that's a little obsessive.
And he's good enough to do it, too.
100%. But I think that if he starts shooting the puck for a defenseman, now all of a sudden he's starting to shoot. I got to get in lanes a little bit better because now he's shooting. And there's a guy on the other side tonight who he reminds me of, and Connor Bedard. And when you look at him and you look at the numbers of percentile Bedard's in, I think we know he's got a great shot.
The high danger stuff is pretty similar.
Yeah, it's in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But look at the mid range.
But look at the mid range.
Grief.
And you know why? Because he can't get in tight. He doesn't, because he'll get pushed out of there. And he's got this deceptive little move that Wyatt has the same move, so he shoots from a distance. And if you look a little bit further out.
If you look at the graphic, now it's not exactly the home plate area for high danger. Right. It's close, but the mid range is basically from the face-off dots out. Not all the way to the blue line. That's sort of the low chance area. But that, to me, the mid-range is sort of where that's my boundary of where I consider what I call the quality chance.
Yep.
The high danger is the stuff in the, obviously closer there on the left. But the stuff on the right, like, that doesn't mean getting all the way to the mid slot. That can be high slot shots.
And what you're doing there is you're using defenseman as a screen. And that's where that little toe pull in that Bedard had. And Wyatt has the same thing. But I think Wyatt needs to be a little bit more unpredictable. And so he needs to start shooting from distance. And that will allow him, because now I play him differently. Because now when you take 2 or 3 of those shots, and I'm trying to get in the shot lane, because when somebody starts to shoot, you kind of straighten up a little bit. Well, now when I straighten up, now you make your little move and you beat me inside or outside and you get a little better chance, or you can make that play across there. So I think by shooting, it'll help him a little bit more. It
sounds very analogous to on the power play. If you don't shoot early, the passing lanes won't open. It's easy to cover the seam passes if nobody shoots from the perimeter.
There's a reason that a lot of power plays have changed right off the faceoffs. And what happens, and we're talking about power play now. So as a penalty killer, if you lose the draw, you have to get out. You have to get out and you have to get in the shot lanes. Well, the idea is now, and what would happen is if you take the puck and move it from the right D to the left D to the half wall, penalty killers now have a chance to set up. Well, if you, as they're coming out and you win the draw and you shoot the puck at the net, they're coming out and the puck's going that way. Now all of a sudden you got more bodies in front of the net.
Chaos.
And that's exactly right. So I think Wyatt can create more chaos, create more indecisiveness from people that he's playing against if he starts getting pucks to the net and starts shooting from bad angles. I mean, you get outside the dot sometimes and he gets down by the goal line. He's good enough. We've seen that short side. I want Wyatt to be more unpredictable with his shots. And when you watch Bedard and that little time he pulls in, he opens up a little space with it's tough for a defenseman to get a stick on there, and he finds a hole in there, and Wyatt can do that. I think Wyatt, whether he's trying to play make and, get it to whoever, I think he's just trying to he's getting himself in too tight. I just want him to be more unpredictable.
Do you think it throws him off going from center to wing this year and not really having a consistent line combo?
I think, consistency for sure. I mean, Marchment out, and we're talking about, is that line going to click right now? It's nice knowing who's on your left and right.
Nice having Sagan back to play with Duchesne, though, with Marchment out.
Yeah, but I think Wyatt just has to be Wyatt and not defer. Like, you don't have to get the puck to Jamie or to Stanko. You can start shooting the puck, and those are 2 guys that he's playing with tonight that are very happy going to the net. So if I'm one of those 2, especially Jamie, I'm saying, Wyatt, you get below the top of the circle, let a few go. And let's get the goalie to stand up straight. Let's use the defenseman for a screen. I think if Wyatt could do that, I think more things will open up for him. But again, it's a good trait that he wants to get into those areas anyways. He's not afraid to go there. Mm-hmm. But and again, when pucks are coming in from the defenseman and things like that, of course you want to be in that area. But I'm talking about off the rush. I'm talking about when he comes down the wall, throw one of those to the net, up high, ring it off the crossbar, off the goalie's mask or off his shoulder, and then get the goaltenders going, oh, man, now he's shooting from here, too. So he can be as dangerous as the other guy on the other side of the ice.